Well, good morning, and good morning to all of you. This is another great opportunity. This is another great day. You know we in the place. Your face has got to be in the place for this opportunity for us to get together and talk about the things that matter the most in Monday Mental Real Estate. It's powerful stuff, isn't it, y'all? We go through this thing every single week. But you know what? Let me remind people, in case you didn't quite understand how this thing works. With Monday Mental Real Estate, my God gave me a vision on this thing years ago. And the power of mental real estate still continues. But now we just add the value on doing this thing on a Monday. So what makes it so important on every Monday? Because it's not only every Monday, it's every week, it's every month, and it's every year. My goodness, I'm thinking about this and I'm like, I have been consistently working Monday Mental Real Estate every week of every month of every year for nearly 5 years. We've been making it, y'all. But you know what? Monday Mental Real Estate is not about me. It's about you. It's about the opportunity for us to get together. So let me ask you the daring question of the week. The Monday as we get started. How was your weekend? Did you spend time with somebody that you love? Did you spend time with someone that loved you back? Did you get an opportunity to grow and learn from somebody else so that you can share and enlighten the lives of other people? This is Monday Mental Real Estate, where we talk about the positive and negative contributors to your mindset. And what does that mean for you? Absolutely everything. And today is no different as we get ready to journey into this world of Monday Mental Real Estate. So now that I got all the pleasantries out the way, let's go ahead and dig into some of this thing we call life application, because my transparency comes with the ability to help share and help other people to grow. So today is no different. So listen, y'all remember last week, right? Now, last week was amazing. I thought that last week's message was powerful, but you don't understand what came on the tail end, or actually right at the beginning of that message. You don't understand what actually transpired to get me to this seat right here at this location, doing what I do every single week. And that's talking about Monday Mental Real Estate. Now listen, anybody that knows me knows that I start mental real estate at 7:40 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7:40 a.m. Central Standard Time. And people ask all the time, but you know what? I have to always remind people, this is the way I do it, how I do it. But listen to this. Last week, I'm going to show you guys something, and then I'm going to give it to you. But you know what? Before I do that, let's go to Romans 12:1. I beseech you, by the brethren, that you present your bodies holy and acceptable unto God, which is what? Your reasonable service. Now listen, somebody for me right now, before we even get into this, put in the feed your reasonable service, and we're going to come right back to it, because I'm getting ready to share something with you. Now, as I said, I start Monday Mental Real Estate at 7:40 a.m. every Monday morning, Central Standard Time. Now listen to this, guys, because here it is. I was leaving my home to come here at 7:34 in the morning to be here so that I can be online, in tune with all of you at 7:40 a.m. Now at 7:34, I'm driving. I'm on my way here, but check this out. As I'm driving, if y'all remember, if you don't remember, let me enlighten you. Last week we had an absolute disaster of a storm. It blew through, it dropped snow, but the thing about it wasn't so much that it dropped so much snow, is that it actually became very slick. But it was snow, not ice. It was snow. So it became very slick. It was our first snow of the year, and when it came down as a doozy. So we was in a winter weather advisory last week when I did this. But check this out, at 7:34. I'm coming here to this location, and as I'm driving, guess what happens? I get into an area where there's a roundabout. If some of y'all don't know what the roundabout is, you enter the roundabout, you drive around to your street, and then you exit off and you keep going. So now, as I'm entering this roundabout, I notice that there's another car that's entering the roundabout as I'm coming in. He's coming in from the other direction, but he enters the roundabout. Now, this is what you normally do. You slow down and you let the people pass, and then you get in behind them and you continue on the roundabout till it's your turn to get off. So as I'm getting onto this roundabout, check this out. 7:34 a.m. I'm on my way here. I'm getting ready to get off of this roundabout, and my next stop is right here in the park so I can do Monday Mental Real Estate. And as I'm coming around the roundabout, this gentleman is just taking his time. He's driving, and I'm sitting here looking like, what is taking this guy so long? So as I'm approaching the roundabout, I tap my brakes. I stop my brake. I put my brakes on so that I can slow down just enough for him to get by. But guess what happens? The car keeps sliding. Now listen, I'm trying to get into the roundabout, but the car keeps sliding. Now I'm applying my brakes, but the car keeps sliding. And I cannot stop. 7:35 a.m. So as I'm getting into the roundabout, he's coming around, and I'm coming in, and I'm hoping he just gets past me enough for me to get in this roundabout, and I will be fine. But you know what he did? He slowed down because he's in the roundabout. And I'm saying, oh my gosh. I'm turning the wheel always. I'm stepping on the brakes. I'm trying to stop the car, and I can't stop the car. And right as he comes across me, bam, I hit the back end of this guy. Listen to me tell you, I ran into the back of this gentleman. Now it's 7:35. I got 7:40 to get online to do Monday Mental Real Estate last Monday. Now, as we get to it, I said, man, I hit him. I said, Lord Jesus. And I sat there. I was so frustrated because I did everything in my power, and I wasn't speeding. I wasn't even speeding. I just could not stop. Now, my frustration automatically is like, this guy could have went around. He could have at least stepped on the gas a little bit more. He could have kept on going, but he slowed down, and that enabled me to do what? Run into the back of him. So I'm upset. I'm frustrated at myself, but I'm upset that this guy probably could have helped me avoid it, right? But check this out. So he pulls off. He pulls off at the next roundabout exit, and I pull off behind him because that's what you got to do. So I pulled off behind him, and when I pulled off behind him, I said, I got out the car, and I looked, and I knew it was my fault. I knew it was my fault. 7:36. I get out the car, and the gentleman, he steps out his car, and he doesn't say a word. White guy. He doesn't say a word. And I looked at him, and I said, sir, I'm sorry, sir. I just want to say, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm truly sorry that I ran into the back of you. I have nothing else to say about it. I'm sorry. And you know what? I understand what has to happen. Let me know now. It's 7:36. I got till 7:40 to get on this line. Now check this out. So the guy comes out, he walks around his car and he looks over at his car. He sees my damage. He looks over at his damage, and he kind of rubs on the area where the damage is. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, if we got to get this going, let's get this going. He doesn't know I'm doing Monday Mental Real Estate. But here's what happened. I'm sitting there, he looks and he checks his damage. I said, sir, I'm truly sorry. I said, I understand that. And in the middle of my sentence, here's what he says. Well, it's not that bad. He says, you know what? I'm willing to forgive it. I'm okay if you're okay. 7:37. He says, I'm willing to forgive it. I'm okay if you're okay. And I said, you know what, sir? I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, but I want to do this right. I understand my obligation and my responsibilities. I do have insurance. I want to do this right. And he says, you know what? Have a good day. And he shook my hand. He got in his car and he drove off. And guess what happened? At 7:41 last week, I tuned in to Monday Mental Real Estate, and listen, I sat in front of you guys and delivered a powerful message, but you had no idea to know that I was shook. You had no idea to know that I was bothered, that I had just been in a car accident, and I had to try to figure out how I was going to manage this. But let me give you something today, because what I'm telling you is that even though I was going through that, you heard my emotion behind it, and behind my emotion, I was telling people that, listen, I was mad at the gentleman for not getting through the roundabout. But it was not his fault. So today, Monday Mental Real Estate is, why do we place blame on others for what we do wrong? How many times have you been in the position that we see some things that we've done wrong because somebody else didn't do something when we thought? Somebody else didn't move the way we thought they should move. Now it's their fault for what we did. So let me help you today. And then I'm going to get back to that verse I told you about. We often place blame on others for our own wrongdoings due to a combination of psychological defense mechanisms and social factors. This behavior is generally linked to protecting our self-esteem and maintaining a positive image. I'm about to walk down your street today. Y'all better stay right here. Self-serving bias. This cognitive bias leads to attribute positive outcomes to your own internal traits, skills, and effort, and negative outcomes, wrongdoings, and failures, to external factors, bad luck, other people. This helps preserve our age. Now here it is. These are psychological reasons, defense mechanisms. Shifting blame is a common defense mechanism, often related to projection, where we attribute our own unacceptable feelings or faults to other people. It serves to reduce anxiety and guilt associated with personal failure or wrongdoings. Now, here we go. Cognitive dissonance. When our actions contradict our self-perception as a good person, we experience mental discomfort. We experience mental discomfort. Blaming others helps resolve this tension. Listen to that. Blaming someone else helps resolve the tension by reframing the situation to make our actions seem justified or less blameworthy. Now, y'all just heard what I said when I got into that thing and I read about that gentleman, man. I was so mad, but it was not his fault. So here what we got. Fear of consequences. Admitting fault often carries real-world consequences. Such as punishment, shame, criticism, or damaged relationships. Blame shifting can be a pragmatic, though often dishonest, way to avoid these negative outcomes. One more here. Check it out, y'all. We're not done yet. Now, here we go. Maintaining control. Sometimes accepting blame means accepting that we made a mistake or lack control over a situation, which can feel uncomfortable. Blaming an external factor allows a person to feel less vulnerable or more in control of their own narrative. Ultimately, while passing blame may offer temporary relief, recognizing and accepting responsibility is crucial for personal growth. It's crucial for personal growth. One more time. It is crucial for personal growth and healthier relationships. Now, that's one thing. I beseech ye, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Now, earlier I asked you guys to put in there reasonable service. Put in there, I said, put in there, which is your reasonable service. Now, we're thinking a lot of times in reasonable service that we're just doing the right thing. We're going the places we need to go. We're doing what we need to do. We're called by God to do so many things, but we're seeing this as a reasonable service, which it is. I'm not going to deny the fact of reasonable service because it is basically what you perceive to be your reasonable service. But Monday Mental Real Estate is to help you understand what? Your perspective of thought. And when it comes to your perspective of thought, we're talking about your reasonable service. Now, that's funny because we can go from one area into another. We can do one thing to another. We can bless this person. We can bless that person. But let me question you today. Is that your perceived reasonable service? Now, if the Bible said, if you're going to present your body as a living, hold on, the key word, as a living sacrifice. Living, I said. I didn't say dead, buried in the ground. I didn't say on your last breath that you gotta, now you want to give it all to him when you're on your way out. You didn't check out. And no. That's not what I'm saying. Because that's not what it said. The Bible said, present your body as a what? Living sacrifice. Now, what is a living sacrifice exactly? I mean, you going to kill yourself? You going to put yourself on the chopping block? Okay, Lord, here it is. Take all you want. I'm yours. I get it. But holy and acceptable. Holy and acceptable unto God, which is what your reasonable service. Now, here's the part about earlier. I asked you to put it in the feed, your reasonable service. But what I'm saying to you is this. When it comes to your reasonable service, who will determine what is your reasonable service? Now, the thing about that is that we seem to be the ones who provide the answers because we're the one who might ask the question. If I ask you the question, I should know the answer, right? Now, here it is. A lot of times we think that because we say, this is what I've done, We've given to charitable organizations. We've preached the word of God. We've helped lead people to Christ. We've done all these things. But listen, who determines and what determines your reasonable service? I love this because when we're talking about reasonable service, I'm going to tell you and enlighten you on something today. Reasonable service sits around the corner. Reasonable service sits in the closet. Reasonable service isn't always presented. It's not always seen. Now I'm going somewhere. Stay with me, because when we're talking about your reasonable service, you as a person, as a human being, as the mind and the mindset that God has given us, we as people, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times we'll see our acts of kindness, our random service to the community, our service to humanity. We see ourselves in positions that have been forwarded to us, our reasonable service. But let me help you. Your reasonable service is not that new car. Your reasonable service is not that new house. Your reasonable service is not that new job. Your reasonable service is not getting into positions that you knew were not there for you before, but now you seem to find them, that you really believe. It's in your reasonable service. Let me help you today. Monday Mental Real Estate, perspective of thought. Woo! Your reasonable service. When you're sliding into a roundabout and you hit that car and you know it's your fault, and when you look into the eyes of somebody who knows that they got you by the horns and they can do anything they want to do to you, when you see God show up, get up. When you see God show up, move up. When you see God show up in the presence of people who don't know you, who may not like you, who don't understand you, don't want nothing to do with you, you show up. When God shows up in a position for you, let me tell you what your reasonable service, how it shows up. Your reasonable service doesn't show up by getting a new house and a new car. It doesn't show up in that job. It doesn't show up with your children. A lot of times, your reasonable service will show up for you because of your reasonable service. If you remember me telling you at 7:37, I'm outside of my car, 2 blocks up the street, looking at the damage on my car and his car. And you remember me telling you it was all my fault. Now, there was nothing stopping this gentleman from saying, listen, give me your insurance. We're going to call the police. There's nothing stopping him from saying, you know that you was wrong. We're going to have this conversation and I'm going to see you in court, or we're going to get you your insurance. I'm going to sue you. There was nothing wrong with this man saying, listen, I want everything that you got because it's your fault. And admittedly so. I admitted to him it's my fault. But let me tell you something about being in the service. Your reasonable service shows up for you because your commitment has went ahead of you. I've been doing this thing, as I said, every week of every month of every year for nearly 5 years, and I've never missed a Monday Mental Real Estate. But at that time, I was stuck in a roundabout, getting ready to miss my first ever Monday Mental Real Estate because I had an accident. And I was shook. I was rattled. But this is what I'm telling you. When it says your reasonable service, it's not going to show up the way you think. Your reasonable service is that sometimes you look to be trapped, but a lot of times you're trapped only to be released. And if you become released because of your reasonable service, all you have to do is stay in the service. Woo! When you're talking about a reasonable service, it's not what you think. It's not all that you see. A lot of times, like I said, your reasonable service will show up for you. It's going to sit back. If God is sitting here watching me and I've been doing this thing faithfully for years, faithfully for months, faithfully for weeks of every Monday I got an opportunity, faithfully I've been doing this thing. But because I'm sitting back, and a lot of times you have to listen, you can never testify without a test. You can never testify without a test. And a lot of times, this ain't my testimony. I'm giving you what I'm testifying right now because I have been through a test. And when I went through that roundabout and I struck that man's car, he had everything in him to do whatever he wanted because it was his right to do it. And guess what? I had to go with it. Why? Because it was my fault. I created the accident. But what I'm saying to you is that when I'm talking about, when it says how you got to show up holy and acceptable. And it's funny how we talk about living the life, how to be holy and acceptable. And it says in there, listen, this is what's funny. It says, is your reasonable. It didn't say exceptional. It said this is your reasonable service. So now let me ask you, how many of us actually present ourselves as a living sacrifice? And what does that look like for you? How many of us actually live the best way we can, holy and acceptable? And then the damaging question, is it really your reasonable service? Now, like I said before, I'm not here to question what your level of service is. That's between you and God. That's between you and your creator. That's between you and who you pray to. But what I'm saying to you is that when it comes to your reasonable service, we're looking around the corner as if reasonable service is sitting in the car right next to us. And all we got to do is dial him up, say, hey, you know, I was down there at the shelter last week and I was helping those kids, right? You remember that? Yeah. You know that I went over to Africa, right? And I was helping communities over there thrive and grow. You remember that, right? Yeah. You remember that? Oh, that's cool, man. Because listen, because this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and hand out turkeys and hams to the needy. And I'm going to help people with medicine who have been going through a lot. So follow me around because I need you to remember that. Okay. Okay. You got that? All right. But here's the reality of it is your reasonable service isn't there. Your reasonable service comes through God seeing your commitment, your sacrifice. And if you commit and you sacrifice and you go through it with what God has given you, if you go through it with what he shared with you, if you go through it by his assignments for you, if you stand in the gap for the people that need you because he knows where you're supposed to be, if you go, listen, oh my goodness. The thing about what we see in reasonable service and what's reality is that we're comfortable in our reasonable service. We find it, we do it, we love it. Hey, this is good. I'm creating something, I'm doing something positive for the community. But let me enlighten you. Reasonable service is not always comfortable. Reasonable service does not always feel good. Reasonable service can hurt you. Reasonable service can cause you pain and put you in the hospital by providing your reasonable service. Why? Because it is demanded of you to leave your reasonable service. So today's Monday Mental Real Estate is simple to help you understand not just the fact that I went through this whole accident thing because, yeah, I was bothered. Yes, it was tough. And you think I didn't sit right here in front of this camera before I turn it on and say, God, you got to give me something because I'm kind of stressing. Not only 3 minutes ago, I was sitting in a roundabout trying to figure out what I was going to do. I felt like I lost my message, Lord. You got to give it back to me. And guess what happened? When I turned the camera on, boom, here it is. Your reasonable service. Stand in the gap of what you have, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in positions that you didn't look for. You're going to find yourself in areas that you didn't look for. You're going to find yourself doing things you wasn't trying to do. But the thing about reasonable service, it's going to sit back and it's going to wait for you. Because at the moment of reasonable service, you're going to find what your reasonable service really was. It's not always what you think, is it? Because what happens is you listen to me good. When you talk about reasonable service, remember the time that cop let you go. When you think about reasonable service, remember the times when your house bill came in and said, listen, you don't have anything due on your bill. Remember that time when you thought your car was bad and they told you it was $500 less than what it was supposed to be. When you talk about reasonable service, remember these moments that I'm talking to you about. Because a lot of times I'm telling you, your reasonable service shows up for you by providing a reasonable service. And if that means holy and acceptable, your reasonable service. Are you hearing me today? So today, listen, be enlightened by the fact that you are still somebody strong, that you are still somebody powerful, and that today is made for you because you have provided a reasonable service. Not unto us, not unto me. It said unto God. Holy and acceptable is your reasonable service. And what's crazy is that reasonable is not extraordinary. But reasonable calls for a lot. When you stand in the gap and you realize that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, don't you think that's extreme? Don't you think that's extraordinary? But you don't realize that that's just the bare tip, the bare surface of where we're supposed to be. Because it didn't just say your bodies as a living sacrifice. It also charged you with holy and acceptable unto God. Now, think about this thing. Because when it's all said and done, he created it. He said, all right, we're going to do that. But at the same time, that ain't nothing. This is just y'all's reasonable service. Just do what I said. You'll be fine. See, it sounds harder than it looks, huh? It's crazy. But the fact of the matter is this. When you go through life and you go through things, you realize there's something better for you. You realize there's something special for you. But you don't always know the position you're going to be in. You just know to be consistent with what is given to you. Be consistent. Follow through with what your assignment is. Stick through your classroom. You can't leave the classroom before the test, because when you get the test, then you can now testify. You can't testify if you've never taken the test before. So the only way you're going to understand how to testify, you got to go through that test. And the thing is, a lot of people will walk with you and they'll sit in your passenger seat. And the thing is, they may be sitting in the car with you when you have that accident. And as soon as that accident happens, wasn't me. I didn't do it. I wasn't driving. It's your car. But you know what I say? You're absolutely right. So I got to take this test, because at some point in my life, I got to testify. Somebody's got to know what I went through. Somebody's got to see my challenges. Somebody's got to understand the pain. Somebody's got to understand the suffering. Somebody's got to see how the triumph comes. Somebody's got to see how to lift their head. Somebody's got to see how to come through, how to go through, how to stand through, how to walk through. Somebody's got to see this stuff. But I can't give it until I take the test. So listen, today, Monday Mental Real Estate, be great on purpose, y'all. I'm not going to hold you any longer, but I wanted to get that through and get it across to you to help you understand the validation of what we're talking about. I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, by the mercies, present it, y'all, because he's coming for it. He's coming for it. A living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is my reasonable service. So listen, God bless you all. Have yourself a great day, a safe week. Let me shout some people out before I get out of here, because I get a little excited about this thing. Monday Mental Real Estate is purposeful, and we continue to move forward. Let's keep it going, y'all. Good morning. Joanne Trotter, mother, good morning. I see you. Felicia McGlory, what's going on? Great morning to you. As always, thank you for being in here. Who else we got in here? Evangelist, Mr. Gill, how are you? I see you all the way in Pakistan. Y'all see this? The power and influence of God reaches everywhere. It reaches everywhere. I appreciate you, sir, from tuning in all the way from Pakistan. Nathan K, my cousin, what's going on, family? All the way. I see you all the way in FL, Florida. I see you doing your thing. Ronnie Tisdale, sweetie, how you doing? I see you. We're keeping this thing moving. Jetta Thompson already. How you doing? I appreciate you this morning. My assistant, Ebony Saunders, what's going on? Enjoy your time, my dear. Get back safely. Safe travels to you and all that you do. God bless you all. Let me see if I missed anybody else, because I don't want to miss people, because everybody comes in and shows up for me, and I want to make sure to shout you out. But listen, last but not least, if I didn't get you, charge it to the head, not the heart. Last but not least, my mother, my life's blood. Mama, thank you so much for supporting me. Also, my auntie is in here, Deborah Sabb. How you doing, auntie? I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of Monday Mental Real Estate. Hopefully, there's some lights, some nuggets, some things that can help enrich everyone's life around here. Y'all continue to move great on purpose. Mama, I love you. Thank you. And we'll talk again soon. God bless you all. This is my time. Dr. Michael Freeland, another Monday Mental Real Estate. We did it again. Let's stand in the gap, y'all. Remember, holy and acceptable. Get your reasonable service in, y'all, because it is required as we move forward. God bless you. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again soon, okay? All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.